Hi everyone. My name's Keiper, and today I'll be talking to you guys about identity theft and how to avoid it. So first, can everyone raise their hands if you use a computer, a phone, a tablet, or anything at home? Okay, so lots of you, and then I think you guys all use like Chromebooks and the library computers here at school. So it's important to understand this even though you guys are just in middle school. So first, we're going to look at what identity theft is. So identity theft is when someone uses your personal or financial information without your permission. So this can include things like your name and your address, or it could be your credit card information, your social security card, your bank account information, or your like health insurance account. And it's very common with 1 in 10 people a victim of identity theft in the last 12 months and 1 in 5 a victim at some point in their life. So you might think that because it's so common, it's not a big deal, but it is really important that we try to be safe when we're online and reduce the likelihood of experiencing identity theft because it can have really bad impacts on our life. So it can kind of destroy your financial well-being. If people are using your credit cards or your bank accounts, they could be having these really big purchases, and this can lead you to growing in debt and ruining your credit score. And this will impact you further down the line when you want to get a loan for college, for a car, or a house. The lender is not going to know that that wasn't you that spent that money because it was in your name. So you'll have a hard time. Also, someone could commit crimes in your name and then you'll face legal issues. And to recover your identity is a long and frustrating process. So it's important that we just try to be careful when we're online. Now, you guys are still young, so it might not be like your bank account information, but you guys might have your parents' information saved on your phones or your tablets and stuff for, buying games and stuff. So it is important that you are still careful because you could hurt your parents as well. So the biggest threats I'd say for like your age group would be corrupt emails, text messages, and staying signed in on like public or shared computers. So with corrupt emails, this is when hackers are kind of sending you, they could be sending you like receipts is what they typically like to do these days. And it could be from a store you really shop at. So that's why it gets tricky because then you're like, oh, something's wrong with my package or something. You have to be really careful. They love to put links in and say like you need to put in this information for your package to be delivered or something. So just be really careful when opening emails like that. We're going to go over some more things in the next slide. Text messages are kind of the same thing. So like UPS and USPS are some that I get occasionally, and it will say your package can't be delivered. Click on this link and verify things if you want it delivered to you. And then lastly, staying signed in is obviously a risk because even here, like at the school library, you don't necessarily know who's coming in and using it afterwards, and they can get right into your accounts. And this is like even more worrisome, like in a public library in town, where you really don't know who in town is hopping onto the computer after you. And they can kind of see everything you have there. So you have to be concerned with that if you are saving bank accounts, passwords. If you're using the same password over and over, that's when you have to be really careful. But you guys should always be logging out anyways, unless it's your own personal device. So some tips when we're talking about the emails is be very, very cautious when opening links, especially when they're asking you, like, you have to verify this information. Um, you always want to check who is sending the email. Now, hackers are good and they've been able to kind of change it and hide it, so you can't necessarily see the true person who's sending it. But when in doubt, you can always call the company and be like, hey, did you actually send this? And a lot of times they'll say no. Um, and if it's regarding like a package, whether this is a text or an email, if they're saying like you need to fill out this information or your package won't be delivered. If your package is supposed to be there in a day or two, you could also just wait it out, see what happens, and then reach out to the company directly if it doesn't show up. But a lot of times I get those texts sometimes, and it's like, you have to respond or you're not getting your package. And I don't do anything and it's there. So it was a scam. Easy. I never opened the link. I never put any information in. It was fake. And then yes, with your shared devices, I don't necessarily mean with like a sister or a brother, but definitely like the library computers and stuff like that. You definitely want to be signing out of your accounts each and every time. So then your passwords kind of become an important piece of this. So you have to remember your passwords. You don't want to use the same one over and over, because then if my password is the same on Netflix as it is on Instagram and YouTube and then my bank account, then it's really easy if I end up in a data leak and my Netflix password comes out, then it's really easy for someone to get into Instagram, to get into Hulu, to get into Spotify, if it's all the same. So you don't want to use the same one over and over. And as we know, as you can see up here in this picture, this is kind of simple, where it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We like to see a mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, and longer is better. Experts now are kind of like 14 plus characters, and that is a lot to remember. So I would say if you can just mix it up, don't use the same password, use uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, and try to do like at least 8, I would say is good. 14 is great, 14 and above, but remember, you want to also be able to remember them. So those are just all things to consider when you're using the internet. And these are my references. Thanks.